1. A few highlights from my weekend I think are share-worthy. I just got out of 7 days isolation because I had caught a cold, then tested negative and went back to work on the Friday. I was expecting a quietish weekend, but I was wrong. Somehow my hotel had booked 4 different banquet events. Didn't bother preparing anything ahead of time, barely scheduled anyone for it. After I finished my cabin function, I drive all the stuff back to the main hotel. I get sent to help a construction group function, about 30 people with an open bar and hors d'oeuvres. They are all a bit advanced on the drunk scale. Mask wearing while leaving the room to the washroom doesn't really happen. The servers working were a bit annoyed by the group but powered through. They were supposed to leave at 9 p.m, but somehow managed to get the event extended, I think 2 times, all the way to midnight. Around 10 p.m, a guy wants a trophy passed around with champagne in it. He wants us to be his accomplice in crime. How dumb can you be? Maybe you disagree with the mask policy, but begrudgingly go about wearing it anyway. Fine. There are laws I don't like but follow anyway too. But pushing your server to break the law just so you can drink like an idiot? When in the end you can easily do that in your room and just be stupid on your own time. Why do you need to drag us into this? Ugh. Second highlight, same group. A bit later, time to break down the bar. I'm tasked with rolling all the booze on a trolley back up to the office. This guy hovering down the hallway, obviously looking at me and my booze train, lets me approach his direction, starts following me, and looking closely at all my booze.
"Oh, you got there? You're gonna take some for yourself, right? You think you forgot to drop a bottle behind for me?"
My answer to stupid was just more stupid. 2 times I repeated as I bolted away, "This ain't a booze cruise, sir." You give me stupid, I'll give you stupid in return. Like, dude, you're here with your work people. Do you have no shame? If it was me, I would stay as far away from the booze trolley. I'd be scared the staff even thinks that maybe I want to steal stuff. And I want to make it as clear as day that they have nothing to fear from me. This guy straight up tries to seduce me into stealing from my work in his name. Even if it's a joke, it's so fucking distasteful. Third highlight. The next day, same groups are in the house with some events. One of which was eating outside. Shared food. Now that's another issue. How and why are we serving shared food to groups is beyond me. My hotel is stretching the restrictions for sure. I'm tasked with running an oval worth of flatbread outside. I start doing my trip. Oval on one hand, over the shoulder. But Mother Nature had other plans for us. It started pouring pretty quickly. I reverse course, go back inside and discuss with my captain what we're doing next. This guy comes to hover around me in my oval like, "I'm just gonna sneak a piece and bring it up to the lounge." "No sir, I can't serve you in the hallway." "But I'm part of the group, we bought that food." "I understand, sir, but I can't serve you in midair. You'll have to wait for me to set this down somewhere, once I know where we're going." And that's all. Just the balls on those people. No shame whatsoever. My mother would have spanked the lots of them for being so rude and arrogant. I don't get how people are okay with their worst selves being so entitled and feeling so superior that they're willing to make my life a bit harder. 2. So let me start off by saying I've worked in this store, seafood polished casual chain, for about 2 years. I've basically grown to love every member of the staff and have built a relationship with everyone, including the managing partner. Yesterday, Saturday, we thought it was weird that our schedules weren't released, but sometimes he's had conflicts about getting the schedules, so we didn't really think twice. Until we got a message on Hot Schedules saying there would be a full restaurant meeting at 9 p.m. on Sunday night tonight. So I arrived with my girlfriend, who is also a server, we met at the restaurant, etc., to a very somber vibe. No hourly employee actually knew what the meeting was about, but we all had the gut feeling that our restaurant of nearly 20 plus years was about to be shut down. We were cracking jokes to each other, saying stuff like, "Well, I guess we don't need to roll silverware." Then the joint venture partner shows up around 7:30 and shit got real. The last hour between 8 and 9 felt like a lifetime. I overheard the JVP asking our managing partner if he could take the lights in the tent home, and I basically knew what the meeting was for at that point. So 9 p.m. rolls around, and we had like 25 to 30 staff members all socially distanced in the dining room, and the JVP started giving the speech. So, the 5-year lease for this place has come up, and unfortunately we have decided to not renew it, and therefore we'll be shutting down the restaurant. The entire room was silent. Everyone was literally shocked because our store hasn't been doing too bad in comparison to others in the region. After the JVP and MP get done saying their words, they ask if anyone has anything to say. In my head, I just kept repeating, "If you don't see anything, you're going to regret it." So I decided to say something along the lines of, "I feel like I need to say something. This restaurant changed my life over the 2 years I've been here. Everyone is like family to me. The guys in the back, I mentioned them by name. I'd like to thank Harry for being such a great team leader, not his actual name. I could easily cry right now, and I'm sure you all feel the same. I can't imagine how the employees who have worked here for 10 plus years feel. I specifically named them. I will miss working with you all, and it has been a pleasure getting to know you. We are family." Immediately the room erupted in applause and tears. The JVP responded with, "That was awesome, that's what we're all about." One of our keys was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. This restaurant has been his love child for over 10 years, and he's been through multiple MPs. Even our MP told me several times that this restaurant was our key's restaurant, jokingly. After my speech, several of my ex-co-workers and managers came up to me and told me they liked my speech and it made them cry. I just never thought it would happen like that. And one day, it was all over. It still doesn't feel real. My girlfriend and I were the last 2 servers ever to be clocked in and take tables. It was kind of poetic in a way. 3. Okay, so first, French-Canadian here. Saying it only so you guys can understand how the government help works here, I work at this awesome place, French Bistro, filled with regulars. Average spending is about $90 to $120 per couple. The whole team is priceless, from the dishwashers to the owners. I've been there for over 10 years, and the average team member has been there for at least 5 years. Closely knit team is both priceless and awesome. The restaurants here got closed mid-March, and stayed closed until mid-June. We had government payoffs that came to about 2,000, yay Canada. We didn't expect to have a good summer, but it ended up being absolutely freaking mad, seriously. It felt like there was no COVID whatsoever, because the locals ended up filling what is usually a huge tourist industry. Read almost tourist trap since 2008, the town's 400 years foundation, and all the international tourism publicity that has been done before. The city has been feeling like Paris with all the tourists. So since we expected to have a crappy summer, we didn't hire new hands, thinking that we would all be scraping for shifts to get a few bucks for a lot of hours. Little did we know, because it turned out to be an absolute shit show. We're talking all hands on deck, 40-plus hour weeks, sometimes 14-hour shifts, raking in amazingly good money since all the troubles that came with the pandemic. You know the drill, masks, visors, goggles, cleaning everything, Purell every 30 seconds, changing tablecloths every sitting, disinfecting tables and chairs. We made a show of how safe our restaurant was, and had the public sympathy, and the tips were absolutely awesome. Last month, we expected things to slow down a bit, and a lot of things changed with unemployment laws and government payoffs. We sent a bunch of staff on low, paid leave. All the elements that were, and this is not pejorative, weaker. You know, the older ones that couldn't keep on running 14-hour-a-day shifts. Those who ended up hurting themselves and could only work light detail. All in the objective of, for the rest of us, boosting our revenue as much as possible in order to get max unemployment benefits during the more than uncertain winter. Thing is, workload didn't slow down, it kept the same pace, with about 30% less staff. For the past month, I've been working 50 to 60-hour weeks. Yeah, raking in very nice money, but god damn it, you can imagine how fucking distressing it is. So now my ankles and knees feel like a bunch of gravel. My brain is like that jelly that gets created on top of a freshly made chicken broth. I feel like I can sleep for 3 days straight, but it's all over. And tonight we had news that the second wave is hitting us hard. The whole city is probably getting classified as a red zone. Bars, restaurants, and a lot more might just get reconfined again for at least a month. But for me, it's all over. I know for a lot of you guys, I might appear to just be gloating at my situation, because I am. Call it on the nice buzz I'm getting from these amazing beers, but I am now facing a situation where I have never felt before in my 40 years of life. For at least the next 6 months, I will be financially safe thanks to unemployment benefits that I've been paying for all my life but never used. And that hellhole of a summer is all over. I know nothing is solved. I know the pandemic is still raging. I know shit might be going down the drain like never before. But I know one thing too. I'm now allowed to finally take a break, knowing all my hard work and sacrifices are finally paying off. That if everything gets shut off again, I'm basically safe for a good while. I honestly feel like I'm a Disney princess. Should be a prince, but those are almost always the bad guys, and I don't feel like one. I honestly hope the best for every one of you guys in here. And all those that aren't, because our industry has been hit real fucking hard with this shit. All of us have basically been asked to work twice as hard for less money. And from what I read, a lot of you guys are getting spit on from both ends, customers and bosses, for this situation. And none of us deserve all that crap falling on our heads. It's awful for those of you who are just working the trade to make some money while waiting to hit your real job. And it's hell for those of us who chose it long ago as your way of life. Stand tall, fellow service workers and kitchen workers, hosts, and everyone else. There will be a nice and bright sun after the storm. As for me, burned out and totally drained. But now it's over. 4. This story happened to me a few years ago when I was working in a cafe as a cashier and waiter. Side note, my job was to work the bar and handle till, but I was expected to help out waiters when I had the time and they were swamped. Fun times. The place had 2 managers, one of which I'll call Awesome because that's what she was, and the other one I'll call Bitch, no points for guessing why. Awesome manager was a 40-something woman that took no shit from people, but was always willing to help if it was needed. Bitch, on the other hand, was an entitled brat no older than 23, insisted that everyone refer to her by her full name, and generally spent her time at work berating people and chatting with 1 or 2 friends. Either way, due to some sort of scheduling shenanigans, it turned out that for a weekend we would have only myself and 1 other waiter working in there. I still have no clue how that happened or why everyone would be okay with it, but we ended up having half the necessary workforce for a weekend. Saturday comes and the place is utterly packed. I'm talking full seating packed here. Awesome manager helps me and waiter out. We're exhausted, but managed to pull through. I was hoping Sunday would be less stressful. Boy, how wrong I was. Sunday comes and it's Bitch who is on shift, and it goes around 1 to 2 p.m. The place starts getting filled in, and both me and waiter are running around like headless chickens trying to serve a full cafe. Bitch is sitting in her office despite me walking up to her and asking to help us. Okay, whatever. The rush dies down a little, but I have several orders for tea and an empty boiler, seeing as how I didn't have time to refill it. Water goes in, I go behind the bar and wait. Bitch enters stage. Seeing several empty teacups and me standing there, Bitch asks me why I haven't made tea yet. I, as calmly as one could be after such a rush, tell her that I haven't had the time to refill the boiler, and I will get it done as soon as it heats up.
Well, why hadn't you refilled it earlier? It's your job to do it properly.
At this point, I was already stressed enough for me to slam my fist down onto the bar and point at all the tables seated. I didn't have enough time, and I told you we needed help half an hour ago. I'm doing my job as well as I can while being understaffed. This has definitely struck a nerve as she looks me in the eye and goes,
If you can't control your emotions, maybe you should go home right now.
Sure, I'll be on my way. and I headed to the dressing room. She naturally decided to follow.
I will make sure to fine you for leaving the shift early.
I don't care, feel free. And just like that, I left my shift not even 5 hours in. I honestly felt so relieved this day. It made me realize that it's not worth it to put up with abuse from your work just for a paycheck. As an added bonus, the next time I came to my shift, bitch was going out of her way not to talk to me. And I haven't had any fines for leaving that day, though I did apologize to waiter, but he was understanding. A few days later, I had a talk with HR who told me that it's pretty hard to find a job these days, so maybe you should be more reserved, huh? I told her that I was planning to move cities and this was my second to last month of working there. She didn't have much else to say. 5. So last night was my last day of training at my new server job that I just started on Thursday. I did all the computer class stuff Wednesday, and last night was my third night actually serving, or helping to serve. I was essentially on my own last night, and tomorrow is the first night I'm not training, and I'm entirely on my own. I am terrified. Last night I almost had a panic attack, cried 6 times, hyperventilated once, and almost just broke down a handful of times. I know my work is understaffed, sure, yeah, I get that, shit happens. The issue is I shouldn't be left to my own devices to serve an entire quarter of the dining room on my own after 2 days of training, and essentially serving that quarter on my own last night and fucking up immensely on a lot of things and then getting blamed for fucking up. Like, I've never been a server before. I literally didn't know how to do my job before someone showed me what to do. How is it my fault that I'm not trained well enough after 2 days to do sections of the dining room my coworkers are able to do after being there like 2 flipping years? I mean, I can do my job and know how, I'm just slow at it, naturally, since I literally haven't been there a week. I haven't gotten into a rhythm. I haven't fully grasped everything yet. To me, that's normal. Note, I worked in a deli for about 7 months. I knew somewhat how a kitchen is run, how to give food to people, things like that. But while they were also desperate for people, I was actually trained properly and wasn't complained about for being slow after just 2 days of training. My training was about a week total, and that was including all the little bits we only did on certain days, depended on what people ordered, etc. I still feel competent enough to do that job to this day, and it's been almost a year since I quit. I also worked EVS in a hospital, and I was trained as a floater. Still took about 2 weeks to train me, since I had to learn how to do multiple types of rooms, how to get multiple areas, etc. I was only assigned area work at first, so I didn't have to worry about rushing to finish rooms on time at first. And when I was given rooms eventually, I was paired with someone for a few days until I could do it fast enough and got it. I'm literally doing the best I can. I'm just new and still need a few days to get used to doing things on my own. So while I'm not asking for someone to babysit me the entire time, maybe only make me responsible for like 4 tables, only open 50% due to COVID, at once instead of like 10 last night. Just maybe. Then gradually increase that until I'm able to do the 10. I don't know if this was a rant or advice or what, but I just needed to get that out there. I'm terrified to go in tomorrow, and I really don't want to since I know I'll likely have the same things happen and then get bitched at for taking a coworker's table. I literally wasn't given a small map until Friday, and I still don't know the tables by number as I'm not a numbers person. I'm a visual person, so I don't know the tables fully yet. Not keeping up with drinks orders, etc. Just counted on my little map. It's about 8 tables due to COVID, 13 to 15 normally. So yeah, they started me off with 8 tables when I have 0 experience. Literally moved to this city in July, so it's not like I could eat there and learn the menu and layout beforehand. And my family has eaten at the restaurant, it's a chain, like maybe twice in my entire life. And I've only ever gotten one thing off the menu, so I don't know it by heart or anything, nor did I ever go to it by choice, only because my family went for a celebration or something. I could keep up with about 4 of those tables currently, sure, but not twice that during a rush, with the end of my shift being when we start to close, so we have the end of the night side work to do. I asked my fiancé, who also works there, if they did this with the other servers who were there at the same level I am, and he said yeah. These people have been there for a few weeks compared to my few days, and they were still started off the same way I was, and still get yelled at as much as I do. Apparently, one of them also walked out like I thought of doing last night when he was given the same stuff to do, and got fed up with BS, so there's that. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 116. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. This one was a little bit harder to put together. Oftentimes the spinning plates I can get 2 weeks at once. This week I was a little bit worried. Thankfully it came together in the end. Right, let's see, this goes up on Saturday. As of recording this right now, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm feeling notably better than I was last week. I mean, we're into 11 days at this point, and I'm starting to feel better. So hopefully that's a good thing, and that it was just a little bug, or it was just, like I say, my body and its usual nonsense. So hopefully I'm able to do a little bit of a stream this Saturday. I don't know what. Oh wait, no, I started doing Sherlock Holmes, didn't I? Yeah, we're doing Sherlock Holmes Nemesis because I managed to get them in a streamable shape. So we might continue with that. Maybe just 2 hours so instead of the indeterminate streams we do. So, okay, so we'll see what mood I'm in. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.